Hi, it's fitness and nutrition expert Sean Stevenson, and this is the Fat Loss Code. In this video, I'm going to share with you 3 of the most critical components for permanently getting rid of body fat that you've probably never heard before. I'm going to share these valuable tips with you completely free so that you can use them right away to start creating the body and life that you truly love. So make sure to focus in and watch this video to the very end. Because if you don't get these key distinctions to transform your body, then you'll likely get caught up in the same lies and confusion that millions of other people have been caught up in the last 50 years. Just take a look at this chart showing the rates of being obese and overweight in America alone. What do you notice about the figures in this chart? You probably notice very quickly that the rates of obesity keep getting higher and higher every single year. What's so shocking is this is happening even though there are more diet programs, exercise programs, gyms, books, magazines, boot camps, and TV shows dedicated to losing weight than ever before. Yet, as a society, none of it is making a big difference. What do you think the real problem is? It's definitely not lack of effort. People are trying harder than ever to finally get rid of their unwanted body fat. It's not lack of information. There's obviously a ton of it. But what all of my successful clients will tell you it is the fact that we're swimming in a sea of the wrong information, typically taught by people who don't have the real results themselves. You'll probably agree that just because everyone believes something is true doesn't mean that it is true. I mean, just a few hundred years ago, even the most intelligent people on the planet believed the world was flat. This was even taught in universities. But now we know that it was a belief that everyone had that we found out to be wrong all along. And this is what I'm going to share with you today. What faulty beliefs most people have about losing their unwanted body fat that I believe will become common knowledge in the next 10 years. I just don't want you to have to wait around for 10 years to hear the truth about these things. So pay close attention and I'll help you learn what mistakes to avoid and how you can actually annihilate your unwanted body fat for good. And I should know because I was 50 pounds overweight, sick, depressed, and struggling to get my life on track not too long ago. In the past, I actually didn't want to talk about this because it was pretty embarrassing. But I had to get over that and to be honest and let people know where I'm really coming from. So to make a long story really short, 13 years ago, I was sitting in the doctor's office waiting to get my results. He came in and told me that I had an incurable spinal disease and there was nothing I can do about it. I spent the next 2.5 years seeing experts, taking different medications, and hoping someone would help me. I steadily gained weight, got more and more depressed, and I didn't see any hope in sight. It wasn't until I hit rock bottom and realized that I had been lying to my friends about why I didn't want to go out and why I didn't want to do things. It was because I was uncomfortable with the way that I looked. Now, I don't know if you've ever felt like that, but it was not at all a great feeling to have. And it wasn't until I made the decision to get well, to stop blaming everyone else for my problems, and to take full responsibility for my life that everything changed. Over the next 6 weeks, I lost 30 pounds, got down to single-digit body fat, and most importantly, my pain was gone. People at my university noticed the changes in my body because they were obviously pretty shocking, and people began asking me for help. And that's where the birth of my career began. I shifted my course of study in college, graduated, and devoted my life to helping others to achieve the health and vitality that they deserve to have. Out of my greatest hardship came my life's mission and purpose. I know that whatever you've been through as well is going to help you to become the happiest, healthiest, and most successful person that you can possibly be. And it all starts with you making the decision that things are finally going to change. So let's dive into my 3 critical tips that I have for you today. If you follow what I'm about to teach you, you will literally impact your life in the most amazing ways for many years to come. The first tip is actually demolishing the biggest lie that I was taught in my university nutrition classes. The belief in this lie has caused the greatest amount of pain and suffering for people all over the world dedicated to losing weight. I once believed this lie too, but when I studied the mountains of clinical research, I discovered that this hypothesis was the biggest fallacy in the history of health. In college, I was told by my professors that in order to lose weight, it really boils down to calories, and I have to, quote, expend more energy than I take in. Basically, exercise more and eat less. The problem with this is that the data just doesn't back that up. Let me show you an example. Research shows that the average person eats 425 more calories per day than we did 4 decades ago. So let's do the math. 425 calories times 365 days each year. That equals 155,125 extra calories per year per person. There's 3,500 calories required to make a pound of fat. So 155,125 extra calories divided by 3,500 equals 44.32 pounds. This means, according to calories in, calories out, we should be gaining an extra 44 plus pounds per person per year. And that's just for 1 year. So multiply that by the past 40 years, and that's 1,760 extra pounds for the average person. Now, I don't know about you, but I haven't seen any 1,760 pound people walking around. And this is a clear-cut example that the calories in, calories out myth is ridiculous, and it's purely bad science. There is some value in looking at calories, but it's a far distant second to looking at the most important factor, which is your hormones. Your hormones actually determine what your body does with each of the calories that you eat. Your hormones also determine how many calories you burn during your day-to-day life. You can't manually force these things. If you drastically cut calories, like most people do when they're trying to lose weight, your hormones will slow your metabolism down to retain the fat and the calories you're trying to burn. Make sense? Your body is made to survive. It's designed to slow down the rate of energy expenditure if less food/nutrition is coming in than it's used to. Most people try to manipulate the system at the wrong place. Sort of like lighting a bunch of tiny candles in your house just because you're cold, instead of just changing the thermostat. The tiny candles are hardly doing anything. They'll take a lot of extra work and they'll eventually burn out. Changing the thermostat changes the entire environment in your house. Your hormones are your body's thermostat. Keep watching and I'll fill you in on how to improve your hormone function to make you more efficient at burning calories and burning fat. And how powerful is this for you to finally realize that calories aren't the real issue when you're working to lose unwanted fat? As a matter of fact, let me give you another practical example to really hammer this in. Have you ever seen someone that's really thin, that eats a ton of food, but they never seem to gain any weight? They're eating a lot of calories, but they're not gaining any weight. And this is because of what their hormones are doing. Many people have had this experience that when they're younger, they can get away with eating an insane amount of calories without really packing on any weight. But when they get a little bit older, if they even try to eat the same way, they're storing fat and gaining weight like crazy. And again, it's due to the hormonal changes in the body. The calories are the same, but the hormones are not. Here's just a few of the things that influence your hormones and how your body actually utilizes calories. If you have challenges with any of these things, you need to address them first before ever tampering with calories. Activity level, lean body mass, digestive health, inflammation, age, genetics, stress, organ efficiency, and many other factors. It's not calories in, calories out, and it never has been. There's a whole sequence of things that determine whether each calorie gets stored as fat, burned, or even assimilated at all. You have to address these things first before ever tampering with calories. As a matter of fact, studies have shown that the weight loss from cutting calories can be as much as 70% from their valuable lean muscle mass. And if you lose your muscle, then your metabolism will automatically slow down. This is why so many people gain their weight back after cutting calories. You've got to protect your muscle and protect your hormones. Now you know. So that's tip number 1. Target the hormones, not the calories. Again, stay tuned and I'll tell you how to improve your hormone function to make you a more efficient fat burner. So let's dive into tip number 2. This tip is probably going to come as a shock to a lot of people, but it's another lie that's been promoted by the weight loss industry that has millions of people struggling to get fit. Exercise is essential, yes, but one of the most critical things that you need to avoid is exercising too much. I know this might sound crazy, but let me explain. There are these tiny and important glands that sit on top of your kidneys called adrenal glands. When your body's in a state of stress for an excessive amount of time, like doing long sessions of cardio, your adrenal glands will release a ton of a stress hormone called cortisol to help you to survive this ongoing stress, because your body literally thinks that you're running for your life. Cortisol makes your body store all of the fat that it can because your body thinks that it's protecting you. These systems have been built into our DNA since the beginning of human history. It's a part of our fight or flight response system. There's a popular story of a tribesman from Africa who came to the US for an Earth Day celebration in Central Park during the 1980s. The tribesman saw a bunch of people running through the park, and he asked his interpreter what they were doing. His interpreter said, "They're just running." The tribesman essentially asked, "Why would they do that?" The interpreter replied something along the lines of, "To get in shape." And the tribesman fell to the ground laughing. To him, that's an incredible waste of energy. He couldn't conceive of the idea of running for no good reason. He's not being chased, and he's not hunting his food. And he's actually a lot closer to our indigenous roots as hunter-gatherers. The fact is that humans have never ran for long distances to, quote, get in shape, but rather, running has been primarily for either fighting or fleeing a deadly situation. And even then, it's short in duration and very intense. And that's why the stress hormone cortisol gets released. These mechanisms are still alive and well within you today. And because of this, a treadmill used in the wrong way can be the #1 enemy of you losing body fat. In fact, doing excessive exercise of any kind can actually be causing your weight gain and the inability to lose fat. The key here is that you have to keep cortisol in check and focus on having the right ratios of hormones being produced to eliminate maximum fat. You see, fat loss is a lot like a game of musical chairs. You have to make sure that the right hormones get into the empty seats, which are the receptor sites, or they'll get bumped out by the wrong hormones and you'll end up losing the game. And the specific action steps that you take each day to either set you up to win or lose this game will tell the real story of your results. So be aware that the fat storing hormones can bump the fat burning hormones out of the game if you're not paying close attention. So that's big tip number 2, which is to avoid chronic cardio, which will eventually short circuit your metabolism, and instead focus on the right form of exercise for long-term fat loss, which we'll get to later. This tip is going to be a relief for a lot of people. So many individuals get burnt out or they never even get started, all because they think that they'll have to slave away at the gym every day to get the body that they want. But nothing could be further from the truth. Don't get me wrong, if you're somebody who loves being in the gym or running or working out, then by all means, do it. I'm just going to give you the tips on how you can do it most effectively to really reap all the benefits of your hard work. Okay, so on to my final and most powerful tip, tip number 3. Tip number 3 is to utilize something I call the metabolic compounding principle to make sure that your metabolic potential is at its peak and there's no blockages in your ability to burn fat. If your major fat-burning organs, things like your thyroid and your liver, aren't working properly, then it doesn't matter how much you diet and exercise, you'll never achieve the body you want. The metabolic compounding principle is simple, and it's based on the understanding that as you improve the health and performance of your major fat-burning organs, then your overall metabolism will work exponentially better. Let's take your thyroid, for example. Right now, I want you to take your index finger and touch your throat directly below the Adam's apple area. Now take your middle finger on the same hand and push it gently right above your breastbone. That's the flat bone that runs down the middle of your chest. Your thyroid is in that small space in between your 2 fingers, and it moves up and down when you swallow. Go ahead and take a big swallow and see if you can feel it. Your thyroid gland has been considered to be the master regulator of your metabolism. When your thyroid is functioning poorly, it will impact every other gland and organ system in your body, and your metabolism will be incapable of reaching its full potential. So the metabolic compounding principle focuses on clearing these issues up and removing hormonal blockages, rather than spending more unproductive time working out. So many people today have problems with their thyroid, even if it hasn't been diagnosed yet. I'm going to share with you one of the most powerful distinctions about improving your thyroid health that you'll probably ever hear in your life. I'm truly glad that I get to share this with you because most people have no idea that this is what's going on in their body. The human body is operating on things like electromagnetic fields and certain types of electricity. This is why when you see things like the heart rate monitor in hospitals beeping and moving up and down, it's measuring the electricity that's being generated by that organ. Every cell in your body holds an energy charge, and that's what works together to make you a living, moving being that doesn't have to plug into an outlet. Your thyroid gland contains a lot of negatively charged energy packets called electrons. Because of this, your thyroid gland is the most negatively charged gland in your entire body. And this is a great thing because this negative charge means a lot of energy. The problem is that because it's so negatively charged, it attracts a lot of positively charged energy particles, some of which you may know as heavy metals. This is why the thyroid is so susceptible to nuclear fallout and heavy metals like plutonium and uranium. But it's not just the nuclear stuff. Things in our everyday drinking water, air, and food supply now contain significant amounts of heavy metals that can be problematic for anyone if they don't have a strategy to deal with it. These heavy metals are attracted to your thyroid like a magnet and literally start to weigh you down over time, like carrying around a bag of cement. In the Fat Loss Code program, I go much more in depth in how to nourish and enhance your thyroid gland, but I want to share one simple tip with you here. Rather than buying some fancy supplements, simply avoid unnecessary exposure to heavy metals in the first place. You can avoid heavy metals like arsenic, cadmium, and phenylmercury by avoiding foods grown with pesticides and instead opting for organic choices whenever available. You can also avoid exposure to things like lead, arsenic, and copper by simply getting a good water filter for your home. There are definitely more advanced strategies for eliminating heavy metals that are holding up shop in your body right now, and that's one of the first things that I cover in the Fat Loss Code. I wanted to make sure that anyone who watches this video walks away with something that adds real value to their life. And even if they never take advantage of the Fat Loss Code program, they'll have powerful insights that they can use to change their life. I understand that not everybody wants to learn how to be an expert on their own body and to be free of dieting and depending on others to continuously help them fix their body. And I want to make this one thing clear right now. This is not fat loss or weight loss for dummies. If you're looking for some mindless, emotionless program to give you some cookie-cutter diet and exercise information, then this is not for you. If you don't want to finally understand how your body works to burn fat and to keep it off, then do yourself a favor and leave this page now. This is for people who want answers and are willing to use their common sense and to become an expert on their bodies themselves. It's not that the information is incredibly technical and hard to understand. I've made the greatest impact in my career by being one of the leading experts able to take complex ideas and make them easy to understand and apply. Plus, there are so many diet and fat loss programs out there, but very few of them seem to have real heart. That's what I feel separates me from the clutter out there, and why I've been able to help so many of my clients the way that I have. One of my favorite success stories is Lizzie from Chicago, Illinois. Lizzie said, "I went from a size 16 to a size 6, 50 pounds to be exact. I continue to be unstoppable and I love it. I tried different diets and even joined the gym, but no matter what, I never lost the weight, or if I did lose it, I would gain it all back and more. After getting the Fat Loss Code, I started implementing everything and I began seeing results as fast as 2 weeks. And ever since, my weight dropped drastically and I never gained it back. It's been almost 2 years now and I've maintained my weight. Everybody is amazed by how great I look. This is the greatest achievement I've ever achieved, and I continue to take great care of my body. Thank you, Sean. You are amazing and you rock. My gratitude to you always." Then there's Justin from St. Louis, Missouri, whose goal was to ride his bike across several states to raise money for the foundation that he started in honor of his 2 sons that he lost. Justin said, "At my heaviest, I was weighing over 200 pounds. Like many people, the weight just crept on. I typically wore shirts and pants that were a size too large because I hated anything tight on me. From the very beginning, my goal was to simply get in the best shape of my life at age 42. The Fat Loss Code has been a tremendous change for me, all for the better. Of course, there's the obvious, my weight loss. I now weigh 167 pounds, body fat loss, and overall increased physical stamina. I just completed a 700-mile bicycle ride over the course of 8 days. that wouldn't have been possible in the past. I'm so proud of all the Fat Loss Code members because I know that they are special individuals who made the decision to transform their life and become the greatest version of themselves that they can possibly be. Remember that formula in the beginning? I'm going to share with you what it really is. It's based on something that Albert Einstein called the most powerful force in all of nature, something called compounding. There's a specific formula that every successful person who's transformed their body uses, whether they know it or not, and I've got the science to back it up. So again, if you don't want to finally understand how your body works to burn fat and keep it off, then this program is not for you. Some of the wealthiest and most successful people in the world that came from poverty made wealth a study in their life to achieve what they wanted. If you want to become wealthy, then you've got to study wealth. Just like if you want to become healthy, then you've got to study health. If you're not coming from that paradigm, that life, to know what it's like to have the body you want, then you must make it a study. There's so many life-changing tips, strategies, and insights in the Fat Loss Code that I had to spread it out over 6 weeks. I take you into the classroom and into the gym with me to learn everything you'll ever need to know to transform your body for good. You will learn more about fat loss in the next 6 weeks than you have in your entire life. I guarantee it. It will literally blow your mind what you learn inside the Fat Loss Code. As a matter of fact, let me take you through some of the highlights. The Fat Loss Code is broken down in 4 specific phases. Phase 1, eliminate and enhance. We're going to focus on eliminating inflammation and enhancing your overall organ function. This is critical for eliminating any hormonal blockages that will prevent you from burning maximum body fat. Phase 2, optimize your hormones. Remember, hormones are what control your body's metabolic fire. In this phase, we go in depth in learning how to trigger your body to turn on more fat-burning hormones and turn off the fat-storing hormones. Phase 3, reduce body fat. Now that your hormones are online, reducing your body fat is going to be easier than it's ever been before. Phase 4, refine and sculpt. After completing the first 3 phases, you're ready to sculpt your body and proceed to the weight and body fat that you desire. Now let me give you a breakdown of how all this will be accomplished. In week 1, you'll get started with Metabolism 101. It's over 2 hours of in-depth video training with me to learn exactly how your metabolism works, what hidden things in your day-to-day life are depressing it, and how to set your metabolic thermostat on high to get the greatest results possible. You'll learn how to protect and detoxify your thyroid gland, how to block your body's #1 fat-storing hormone, and helpful supplements that will make your metabolism work more efficiently if you've had any history of problems. In week 2, you'll continue with Metabolism 101 and learn about the systems in your body that help you to deal with stress and how the stress in your life is actually making you fat. You'll learn all about the organ in your body that I call the irreplaceable fat regulator and how to keep it in tip-top shape to keep your metabolism running at its peak. Week 2 is also where I sneak in a free copy of a program that's helped people lose thousands of pounds collectively, all on its own. If you've got some extra weight to lose, I'm going to show you how to lose 8 to 10 pounds in the next 2 weeks alone. This part of the program is optional, but if you've got weight to lose and want to increase your energy, I'd highly recommend it. Week 3, you're going to learn about mastering your hunger and satiety hormones. You're going to learn exactly how your body burns fat for fuel, which no other fat loss program has ever revealed the full story to you. And you'll also get access to a special section looking at the most successful people who've lost their unwanted fat and created an amazing body. You'll learn exactly what makes them tick and how you can borrow their discoveries for your own use. Week 4, here we'll be breaking down all the deadly diet myths and help you to create the perfect nutrition program for you as an individual. You'll discover the unique factors about yourself that you absolutely must take into consideration. You also learn the universal principles that need to be present in all nutrition programs, or they're going to fail long-term no matter what. Plus, you'll get a template for eating right for your unique metabolic type. Week 5 is all about exercise and training. No nonsense. We're going to break down the myths about exercise and fat loss and reveal the stuff that really works. You'll learn all about your body's different muscle fiber types and which ones work to maximize fat burning. You're going to learn how to literally block your body from storing more fat using a specific type of exercise, and a whole lot more. In week 6, now that we've got the big pieces out of the way, we're going to refine things and look at keeping body fat off long term. You'll learn the small things that can make that extra difference when you're ready to lose that last 10 pounds or burning that last 1 or 2% body fat. You'll discover the pre-workout fuel that can help you burn extra body fat, how to recover faster and get more gains and lose more fat, and what pre-workout nutrition mistake to avoid that will block your ability to burn maximum body fat. These critical parts of the fat loss code are infallible, inescapable, and the unstoppable key to you having the body that you want. I'm not going to give you some silly sales pitch. I'm just going to give it to you straight. I can help you to get into the best shape of your life, but I can't do it if you're not stepping up and taking action to do your part in getting there. Access to the Fat Loss Code program is just $197. That's all you'll need to learn everything you've ever needed to know to get the body and life you deserve. My private clients pay me as much as $1,000 a month to learn this information from me, but you get to have it all, use it all, and keep it as your own for the rest of your life. I put my heart and soul into this, and everything that I know, you will know. No holding back. This is an introductory price, and I will be raising it in the near future to the place that it really deserves to be. So take advantage of this lower price while you can. Click the Add to Cart button below to get access now. By the way, I didn't want to pour on a bunch of worthless bonuses like other programs do. What you get in the Fat Loss Code is far more valuable than any other fat loss program out there. And once you're inside, you'll know it. I will, however, be giving you access to the 7 Legendary Foods of Immortality program that I created because every one of those foods can give you an edge in your energy, fat loss, and longevity that other people won't be able to compete with. People spend more money on getting their hair done, nails done, buying expensive clothes and shoes, trying to cover up things on the outside of their bodies. But isn't the inside more important? The greatest fashion statement is a lean, fit body. It's just that most people don't have their priorities straight and they're putting off things that can help them the most. But that isn't you, is it? You're somebody who knows how important your health and body is. You understand that getting the body and life you want is worth 1,000 times more than the small investment for this life-changing program. You have my ironclad 60-day, 100% money-back guarantee that if you don't love this program, if you don't get the tools to make you the strongest, sexiest, happiest version of yourself that you can possibly be, then you can have your money back because I don't want it. No questions, no hassles. If you are serious about making a change and taking care of your amazing body, then I'd like to welcome you into the Fat Loss Code and congratulate you on the results you're going to achieve. With my ironclad 100% money back guarantee, you have nothing to lose and everything to gain. Click Add to Cart and I'll see you inside.